Welcome to the Andy Taught Me How Build Your Website series, 5-page website series. We are on session 3 and we're going to build the homepage. And today is the day that everybody's been waiting for. We're actually going to do some construction. So I'm Andy Delgado. If you're on YouTube following, then welcome. While you're here, please subscribe, like, hit the bell, all that kind of stuff. And then I am going to share my screen and we're going to get started. I don't remember if you're going to be able to see the whole panel once I stop or if you're just going to see my big ugly head. So there's a whole panel of people here. We are all a whole bunch of internet marketers. Some of us have a lot more experience than others, but we're going to all learn together how to build a 5-page website, and we're going to do it live because when I'm finished today, no matter where we stop on this first page, the home page, you'll be able to go to andytaughtmehow.com and see everything that's done. So we are building it live and in person as we go. So let me share my screen real quick. Excuse me. And we want to share this one, and there we go. All right, I am going to assume that you can see my screen. So, like I said, this is session 3, and we are branding your homepage. Actually, we are building starting today. You've already seen that. Here's some stuff that we want to talk about a little bit later. No big thing. Basically, I'm just saying if you are on the video, if you're in the Zoom, then just be aware that I'm going to use it later on in a recording on YouTube, maybe some of the other socials. And if you want to be here, then you're here. And if you don't want to be on my socials, then you might want to step out or hide your screen or whatever you want to do. So, please, if you are on any of the socials, subscribe to this channel, hit the thumbs up, and then click on the bell and say all. And that way you get notified when we add more content every day. So here we go. If you are here, you've probably already downloaded the ATMH 04 worksheet. If you haven't, you can go to andydelgado.com/ATMH04 and download it. Excuse me. And get that sent to your email box right away. And then we started talking on the session 1. The very first thing we talked about our website purpose. I renamed it later to our website's mission statement. And this is the main question that you want to answer before you start building a website. And it's simply, I help blank so they can blank without blank. And it gets a little bit more complicated as we go. But for this website, the one that we're going to work on today, I help beginners build simple websites and online systems so they can create a clear online home without feeling lost or overwhelmed. So before we build these pages, we need to build, or we built the system that those pages will use. We've spent 2 weeks now talking about how we're going to design it. The brand settings, I'm sorry, today we're going to add those things in. We're going to go back and fill in the blanks in the blueprint, the toolkit, and also in ATMH 04. And we're going to talk about the brand settings, the custom values, the button style, our header and footer, and then our section layout, and then how to ask GPT, can you help me do this? And then we're going to start building the actual homepage structure inside of BizStackPro. By the way, if you haven't already figured this out, this is all being built in BizStackPro, which is a super turbocharged version of GoHighLevel. We've got all kinds of amazing tools that we've added, that our leaders have added to BizStackPro. So if you are interested in joining BizStackPro, follow the link in the description, or if you know somebody on the panel when you see it, talk to them and they'll help you get started in BizStackPro as well. All right, we already planned the purpose of our website. We know who it's for, what action we want visitors to take, what pages we need, and now we are ready to turn that plan into a real page. So let's look at the info that I have for this website. This is taken directly from my copy of the Website Builder Toolkit. By the way, if you haven't already built that or downloaded that, you can go to andydelgado.com/toolkit to get it. And most people want to start by dragging sections onto the page, but if you do that too early, you end up making design decisions over and over again, and then you have to undo or delete or all the things. No fun. There you go. So today we're going to make the big decision once and reuse those decisions everywhere. Now remember, we're talking about the andytaughtmehow.com website, and these are the settings that I've chosen. Now, I built this, what you're looking at, in a Google slide, and it's very easy for you to go and add the custom colors just so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like for all the sections, all the buttons, all the stuff. So, you can see that I'm going to use deep navy as my main background, a regular navy secondary colors, bright blue for highlights, gold for the main accent, and then a lighter gold for hover, and then white text and dark text. So we've got several sections in our homepage, and I'll show you a mock-up of and a mock-up image, and then a little bit more in depth of the different sections we've got. You can look at this, and like I said, this came directly from my copy of the toolkit and ATMH 1, 2, 3, and now 4. So if whenever you're ready to build your site, you're going to want to have this kind of stuff on a screen beside you if you use more than one monitor, on a sheet so you can copy it and paste it or whatever you want to do. But these are good things to have before you get started. And then we're going to talk about the different sections, right? So all of this is really one section. The header and the hero are all really one section. So we're going from a dark navy to light, to dark navy to light, to dark navy to a highlighted uh, call to action strip, and then finally back to the dark navy. And you may have seen these on different websites. So let's hold on. Let me just go through a little bit forward and we'll see. We're going to build our custom values, and this allows us to be able to reuse things easier without having to retype later down the road. So we'll use different custom values, a site name, our call to action text, the URL, contact email, website URL, YouTube URL, a copyright name, a short tagline, and a main offer name. And then finally, we're talking about the sections again, because you can have different widths on your pages and it highlights a section or call out a section. Most of my sections are all going to be wide. And then I'm going to move the margins in just a bit for a couple of the sections. And here we go. This is a mock-up of the site when it's finished, what you're going to see. I asked ChatGPT using one of my images based on the image to provide a mock-up of the website. And that's what it came up with. Looks pretty good. We're going to make it look even better when it's all said and done. This is the hero section and the header with the nav at the top and a call to action button at the top. And then also a call to action button here. Okay. We want a dynamic hero section, and we've got a pretty good looking one here. All right, next. This is the sound familiar, and then so this is our problem and our solution section. And then we've got a what you're going to learn, and then about Andy. And that's not really me. I know you think it is. It's not. And then finally, our final call to action strip, and then a footer. So you've seen the plans. Let's go build. Well, before we do, hold on. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, to like this video, and then click the notification bell and choose all. And then if you need to get in touch with me, you can email me at andy@andydelgado.com. You could message me on Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook there at that link. I'm going to stop sharing that screen for a second and then talk to you real quick while I get ready, move stuff around. All right, so we are almost ready to start building. I know this is what everybody has been waiting for because nobody wants to hear theory, right? When I was in college, I always understood the theory and learned it. But then when we got to the labs, that's where I wanted to be. That's the real stuff. Chip, when you were learning theater and all the stuff, or when you taught it, you probably taught the theory, you taught the emotions, you taught how to act. But then when it was time to do the acting, people liked it better, right? That's where people shined. So here we go. Let's shine. Let me pull up my screen again. Share. Desktop 2. All right. This is a brand new BizStackPro account. And I am showing you just a sec. Let me move this control out of the way. I'm showing you, well, so normally we start here. I wanted to be faster, so I wasn't doing all this stuff. So this is This is a BizStackPro main account. There's nothing here, I promise. We're going to go to sites. We're going to go to websites, and I've got a website that's just a placeholder. We're going to go in there, and then you see I've got a coming soon page that is going to stay for just a few more minutes. We're going to start first by going and building our brand board. You remember all those colors you just saw on my page? That's what we're going to do here. We're going to start from blank. All right. If I want to throw my logo in, if I want to throw a horizontal and a vertical logo in, we would do that. We can add our colors, we can change our typography. So what I want to do first is we're going to call this ATMH for Andy Taught Me How, and I'm going to save the board. All right. I'm not going to worry about the logos right now because we're going to do all the background stuff first. All right. I don't care for gray. Let me get back to my page where I've got my colors. Here we go. We're going to call this one Deep Navy. And click on the color. And here's the easiest thing about this. You can use, you can go and try to do all that stuff. I'm not that good. I know what hex code I want for my color, so I'm just going to type it in. 06132C. All right, so there's my deep navy. And then click over here. This next one is going to be called our secondary color or just navy. And y'all, I'm doing this for real. I could have had all this done for you, but I want you to see that I'm really doing it as we talk. 04 1E4C 041 1E4C. That's it. And that's called navy. We're going to add another color. We're going to call this bright blue and click our color swatch here. And we're going to put in 22569E. And then we're going to add gold. So you're asking maybe why do you have it? Why are you building a brand board? Well, I'll be honest with you. It's so that I don't have to go and change colors and try to rebuild it every time. So if I have a brand board, then I've got everything set. I can use this brand board for any website. Right now, we're doing it just for this as Andy Taught Me How. But I have access to this same brand colors on any website that I do in BizStackPro or GoHighLevel. FCCA69. Oh, I'm sorry. This is called light gold. Two more, y'all. I'm hurrying. Now, if you're not a very color savvy person, my wife will ask me what color looks better. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I asked ChatGPT based on this picture and that we built, what would be the best color palette to use for this website? And it helped me by saying we should use these. And I said, yes, sir. Now, you don't have to be dictated to by your favorite large language model or LLM. Uh, I just happen to like it. So we're going to change typography now. I like the colors that ChatGPT went with, and I got to tell you also that let's go see. Okay, I don't see my font there. Let's start typing. There we go. Fire Sans. So I like Fire Sans in different sizes, different flavors, different weights. And then also I like Fire Code. These are Google fonts that are available to us. If you have a font that you like, maybe one that you've bought, you can add it as well. And then I'm going to save this board. Now, if I wanted to throw my logos in here, I could, but I got to be honest, I haven't extracted those or asked ChatGPT to extract those for me yet from our artwork. We'll come back to that. So this brand board is done. Now, remember I talked about some custom values. We're going to do the same thing. By the way, if you go to settings, Let me show you how I got to these things. You go to settings, and then we have custom values here on the left. And then farther down, we have the brand board that we just got to. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to work on custom values. I've already got it pulled up. We're going to add a few real quick. One of the nice things is we can organize these things. So we're going to create a new folder called ATMH and tab that guy. Oh, you can't do it here. We'll come back to that. Create. We're going to add the folder here first. Sorry about that. Okay, so we created the folder ATMH, and we can move this into that folder just so we're staying organized, and that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we're going to add another custom value. Excuse me. Oh, actually, let's move to the folder first. All right. Now add a custom value, and this one's going to be main CTA text. Y'all didn't stop me. Good news is you can edit it. Okay, panel people, would y'all rather watch me keep typing all this in or come back to it after I've done it? Oh my gosh. I can't see gestures. Y'all got to say it out loud if you want to say it.
Come back to it as long as it shows each and every one.
Say that one more time.
I would vote for come back to it as long as it shows each and every one. We can
Okay,
follow
I'll do that.
that. Good to have done more than one, though.
Yeah, good answer. Especially if I keep making typos like this. All right, so let's say that I did all of our custom values. You've seen that I did our brand board, so we're going to go back. The good news is I've got tabs open. So let's go here. We're going to build a new page. Name for the page is Andy taught me how. Actually, I can just do home because that's going to be in the site. So we're going to call this home. The path is /home and create new page. And create from blank. And a blank section. Very important. We're going to name our sections. Remember, I talked about this before. We're going to do these things as we go. Let me move y'all out of the way. We're going to name the sections as we do this stuff. So this is going to be a header section. All right. Inside of the header section, I know, let me come back to this image just a second.
You do have a sect opum.
Oh, golly, Chip, why did you let me do that?
Because we're beyond the days of the octopus.
All right, guys. So I showed you this image a while ago, slideshow. I showed you this image a while ago. This is from that mock-up. Now, I know that the way that you have to build a header if you're going to add a button using the nav is I've got to put a two-column row to get this because that button won't be a part of the menu. So let's do that. We're going to add a two-column row. In this section, we can move it as we go. In this section, we're going to add our navigation. Somewhere did I pass it? There we go. Navigation menu. It's there. And then in this section, we're going to add a button. Now, let's talk about our buttons as we go. Remember, I talked about the different styles of the buttons in our sheet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to start with a basic button. We saw from our image that that button is actually going to be gold. And we're going to go to our colors right here. The background color is going to be from our gold color here. All right. And then we're going to, when we get this button all finished up, we're going to save it as a nice universal button. All right. So this button's text is going to say, hold on just a sec, get the toolkit. And we're going to call this gold CTA button. And it's going to say, get the toolkit. One thing I should have done first, let's go back and do this. We're going to go back and edit our typography because this is going to be Fire Sans. This is going to be Fire Sans. We know that our link color is going to be from our link colors here, bright blue. Our text color is going to be dark text. Actually, most of our website is dark on the background, so we're going to make the text color the light text. So there we go. We've set our primaries there. All right, this button, our styles, this button is going to have a, I don't like this 15. We're going to change that to 10 on the top and 10 on the bottom. Got that done. And then we're going to change our corner radius to 12. And we're going to apply that to all four corners. And that's all we need to do at this moment. We're going to do some custom Java to change the color when they do a hover. Now, I know that I don't want this button to be this wide. So we're going to change this instead of a fill width button, full width, we're going to do a fluid. And then this section doesn't have to be this long. It's going to be about like so. One more thing we can do is we've decided in our design that we're going to have a page background color. So we can change that here. And our page background color is going to be the dark background color, dark navy. Hey, we're getting somewhere, huh? All right. And then finally, we can start working on our menu. Now, y'all, let me tell you, we're not going to finish this whole page today. We're going to work as far as we can, as quickly as we can, and then we'll stop. You guys can look at it live on the website and check it out then. But so let's go real quick and start working on our nav, and then we can keep going throughout the sections. So we click on the nav, it brings up the nav on the right hand side. We can change our padding, we can change our font style, we can do all those things. So first things first, we know that we're going to have a home, an about, and a training. This one can either go away or we can move it out. So we're going to call this training. And then you just drag the hamburger menu and pull it outside so it's not a sub menu. There we go. And then finally a contact. We're not going to worry about the URLs for these buttons right now. We'll come back to those. We can do some more work. Our background of this button, this nav, let's get down here. I got to move the camera just a hair, y'all. Sorry. So is that going to be in styles? I believe it is. Let's go see. Styles. All right. Our background color is going to be the dark navy. There we go. Our mobile background color is going to be the dark navy. By the way, one of the great things about BizStackPro is it builds your mobile menu for you as you go. That would be called a hamburger menu in most cases. So we're going to let that happen too. So what else? We can change our hover text color whenever somebody goes over it. And the hover text is actually going to be the gold. And then the actual text is going to remain white. So we're going to go do some work on that. Um, bold text color, I think I'm going to leave it alone. Underline text color, we're going to leave that alone. We're good on everything else. I am not going to have the business name. Um, just a minute. Let's change. We want to change a couple things real quick. Hold on. Left aligned. Let's go back to general. We want to change the font size. All right, we are going to have a logo in the menu, but we're not going to have a business name in the menu. So that is actually editable up here in the nav. We're going to take that away. And then I'll have a logo up here after I get that ready to go. I want to space these items out a bit, and also I want to change the font size. Let's go up to about 18. Much better. And with that, let's change the spacing just a hair. Maybe that's under styles now. Oh, right here, menu item spacing. Let's bump that up. I think that's pretty good. I might go more later. All right. So we are at a pretty good stopping point with our nav for now. Let's build the next section. We're going to click on the plus here. This is going to be a 2-column row. We already know the background color. By the way, that section is a full width section. We want to change our row size. Oh, actually done it for us. Our row size, we can change whatever we want to do. And then inside of this, let's look at the copy. If I slideshow it. All right, inside of this is our hero section. Inside of the hero section, it's split in half just so I can align this on the left. And then I'll probably make this image of this laptop a full width of the row. Okay, so let's design this real quick. Let me bring up my pattern back over here. All right. So we had a pill at the top, if you remember that, but that's really a button. So we're just going to throw that up, and it was a black button. And then we're going to go ahead and come back to that in a second. We've got a title or a headline, and that just says build a website. And then underneath it was another title that said from scratch, but it was a good font, a different font. So we'll come back to that, but we're just going to call it from scratch for right now. And we're going to give it the gold color. See, we've got our colors up here. That's really neat that we've got our brand colors already. And then these two are both left aligned. So come over here, go to styles. Some things have changed. Now the alignment for most of these items is on the left side or is in the under styles. So we've got them both done. All right. And then we had some subtitle here. Uh, there we go. And it says simple training for okay. Once again, this is what ChatGPT helped me figure out. If I don't like this, I can change it, right? So you guys remember that. You don't have to stick with what ChatGPT gave you just because it's ChatGPT. So I don't know if about that word overwhelm in there. I might come back to that. And we're gonna call this element is our that's good. We'll come back and fix the pill in just a sec. I want this to be left aligned. All right. So remember, good SEO stuff says that you have an H1, an H2, a H3, all that stuff. This subtext line, subtitle line needs to be an H2, and it is. And I want it to be bold, and then I want it to be larger than that. So let's bump it up to about 30, a little bit smaller. That's a good one. And I don't know if I want that bold or not. Let's unbold it. We'll come back to that. Actually, you know what? This font has a light, and I love the light for a subtitle. I think that looks pretty good. It also has a dark. So we're going to change our dark or heavy. Same thing here. And we're going to change that font later, but we'll fix that later. All right, let's go fix our pill. We need some spacing underneath it. So we're going to go back to, I didn't want to stop. All right, so we're going to style this button. We want it to be a fluid button. And we're going to, instead of calling it a button, we're going to call it a pill. And then the text is,
You ready to go already? Huh? Well, you can't go already. You got to wait till she comes to get you, okay?
Shelly,
But
can
you
you,
don't want to up here? Banana coming, okay?
thank you. All right, and then we need to, that is going to have the round border styles. I want to think that's 999 to make it a circle. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. I want border width of 1. Here we go. Border radius 999. There we go. Hey, we learned something together. And then we want that border color to be our gold. Which one? Light? Let's try the dark. It also needs to be thicker, right? There we go. That looks pretty good to my picture. All right, we want some. Remember I said I don't like it so tall on the top and the bottom? Let's change that to 10. And then we need to add some space below it, and let's give it 20. And then we want the alignment of the button to be left. All right, let me show you what we've got, and y'all say we're on a good track or not. There's our pill, there's our headline, there's our subheadline. I think it's looking pretty good. I think the build a website font needs to be larger to make it go almost halfway. So let's look at that. And then we're going to start working on these 2 buttons. By the way, right now we can look at 2 things and see that what we've got to do. Under our subtitle, we need to have a 2-column row. And then below that, we need to have a 3-column row, right? Let's do that. Okay, subtitle, 2-column row. Under the 2-column row, we need a 3-column row, and we'll fix these up real quick. Now, I can take this button, by the way, I just looked at it and saw that that button text needs to be black instead of white. And that's called, so the text color is just called color. So we're going to say dark text. That's better. And then what we can do for the button that's going to go right here. Oh, we said we were going to save that button. Let's go save it as an element. Click on the save. Y'all, I know that I'm going to put a hover class in here before I do anything with it. So let's do that real quick. So whenever you hover over the button, I'm going to write a custom CSS that will make that button actually do something. So I'm going to go ahead and call that hover dash button as the class, even though I don't have it in my custom CSS. And the reason I'm doing that is so that when I save it, it's already there. All right. So, except you got to spell right. Chip, why did you do that to me?
I wasn't quick enough.
All right. So, thank you for thinking about it anyway. All right. So, you saw me type it in. Let's go over that again. I'm going to type in the class name, right? It doesn't do anything. If I hit tab to get out of that field, I've lost it. You actually have to hit enter to save the class. This is a CSS class that we're going to create later. So there we go. Now it will be saved. So anytime that you hover over this button, it will go out and see if that there's a class that's assigned to that action called hover. Okay, and so when it does it, it's going to make an action here that happens in CSS. It's gonna be a nice subtle whatever. All right, so let's go save this real quick. This is going to be a ATMH. Chip, you raised your hand. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I wonder why above, on the left, why that's a button above the builder website.
Just a minute, I'll show you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is going to be an ATMH gold CTA, not CTYA. Come on. All right, we're going to save this as an element template or a universal template. Let's talk about the difference. We want to save this as a universal template because that way, if we change any action or text on the button, it doesn't change it everywhere. We want to save it so that it only changes it each time we do it. If we want it to be universal so that it always changes, for example, if I always wanted this to link to a page, um, and then changed the page later, I would want that to be a universal element. Right now, it's going to be good as a template, and we're going to save it. All right. The easiest way to get this rounded effect is to actually insert that as a button object, as well as if somebody hovered over that, I could give it the hover class. Yes, I could have done that by the same thing by creating another one column row and doing the same editing or effects or style on it that I did with the button. It's easier to do it with the button. That's why I did it. Okay. Remember, I call that a pill, by the way. And these two things are going to be buttons. And then each of these are actually going to be a card. And I'm giving you the real world names for those. All right. So we have a button that we have saved. We can do one of two things in this area. I can make a copy of this button and then drag it down there. Sometimes that's kind of kludgy. Or I can go to add and then I can go to saved assets, universal sections, and look at where to go. Element templates. There we go. And there's our button. I can just click it and drag it. Oh, what? No. Shelly, are you here? Element
Yeah,
templates.
I'm here. I wasn't watching the moment that error popped up.
That's okay. Watch. So what I did is I saved this as an element template
Mhm.
and I'm trying to drag it into another part of the page. And it says it's already there. I've got to do the clone. Have you ever seen that?
Um, no, but I mean, it's easy to just copy it and drag it.
Yeah, I know. But I just talked about I didn't like it. But I got to do it. All right. So I copied this button, then go back to the four arrows and drag it. All right. So we have a copy of that button. Now this is going to end up being a little bit bigger, y'all. Let's take this. Come here. Come here. There we go. This button is going to be all kinds of different. Now let's show you. So this button is going to be this big, and we're going to have another button beside it that says, "What's the intro?" I cloned this button up at the top right, and I put it right here. So what I'm going to do is go modify this one, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have access to an icon that looks like that. So I'm going to skip that for now. I may put an image there later, or I may try to see what icon BizStackPro has built in that I can use there. So for now, let's go just do this styling on it. All right, it's going to say general, and this is going to say get the maximize. There we go. Web site builder. Toolkit. And then subtext is going to be free toolkit. All right, y'all. Truth in advertising, right? Normally, I never say instant access because I don't give anybody instant access. I make them get their stuff, whatever I'm going to give them, through an email. So I'm not going to say our button from what ChatGPT said is give it a say instant access here. Not going to do that. Sent to your email. Oh my gosh. Immediately. All right, that's better. Okay, so we're going to change our fonts there. That needs, actually, let's go and make this bigger. There we go. And that's going to be black text and it's not going to be bold. So let's come back over here. We could actually go with light there. Nope, wrong one. We want that one to be semi-bold. We want this one to be light. That's not going to work. Light's too small. All right, and then we're going to change the, excuse me, change the color of that to black. Subtext color, and we're going to make it our dark text. All right, so if we looked at this image, we see that Get the Website Builder Toolkit is quite a bit longer than the free Toolkit Instant Access. Let's go make it look like that. And these were both left aligned too. So let's go first, make that top text bigger. Now, what I'm doing, in case you can't see, is I've clicked on the text font size for the text in this button. And I'm just going to up arrow one at a time until I see what it's doing. Now, it made it double size. That's all right. We can just drag it bigger. That looks pretty good. Also, on this button in our image, the text was left aligned on the button. I'm not going to worry about that now because I don't know what I'm going to do about an icon. So that's a good stopping point there. We're going to create a new button here. This button is going to say, watch the intro, and it is a regular blue button that we're going to stylize. So I'm going to drag it here, and we're going to say, this is a watch. We have a couple of different options we can do with the video at the time. This can be a pop-up that this can be a pop-up that will come up in the middle of the screen and play a video, or we can take it to another page. I'll probably put it as a pop-up in the middle of the screen. All right. Subtext says, see what it's about. And then that looks pretty good. We're going to change the font to normal. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's go style our button. Button's going to do the same thing. We're going to give it a, take this top off. Actually, you know what? Let's click somewhere else. All right, let's go fix our button. We don't want to fill width. We want it to be fluid. That's better. We want the size to be 10 on the top, the padding, and 10 on the bottom for the padding. And then we want it to be round. $12. All right, and then the background color of this button is going to be our dark navy. This one, bright blue. I think that looks pretty good. All right. So we've got our two buttons going, and we're going to add, this one does not have the hover action on it yet. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in there. Y'all, we got 5 minutes left today. Oh. I must have duplicated this row somehow by accident. That's okay. Let's get rid of it. Gone. All right. So the next step is we've got 3 different cards right here. And they have an image inside and then 2 lines of text. So in order to do that, this needs to be a 2-column row. Let's talk about this again. Close this up. We already have a 3-column row inside of a 2-column row. And now we're going to make each of these 3 columns a 2-column row. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but we're going to make it work. And we're going to do a little bit of cheating. We're going to get one of these perfect, and then we'll clone it and edit the others. So let's do this real quick. There's going to be an image here. I don't know exactly what that image is yet. It may be something I have to create. So I'm just going to put an image placeholder. And it's right there. Then we've got some text here. And it's actually the easiest way to do that is to insert a rich text element right here. So we're going to take this and take away some of the text. And then we're going to take away some more of the text. All right, so that first part was an H1. This is an H2 that we're going to get rid of. And I guess let me do it this way so you can see what it is. Let's take this element and drag it over to this big table so you can, I'm sorry. Come here. Oh, come on. It's not dragging. All right, let me do that again, all over. Delete it. I'm going to come over here and add a rich text box so you can see what I'm working with. This is a rich text box. We're actually going to go ahead and modify this so that it will fit right here with the text we want. And I wanted you to see what this looked like to see what I was deleting first. So let's get rid of all this stuff at the bottom. We're going to get rid of this stuff at the top. And we're going to change it to what it needs to say. This first card says step by step as a title. And then underneath it, it says easy to follow. And then we want that top one to be bold. And that's it. So we're going to take this and hopefully we can drag it. There it is. And then we'll need to make this a little bit bigger. So we have a complete card. If we wanted to do anything special with it, for example, if we wanted the card to have a border around the whole thing, then we would, let me just show you how to do that. We could border the row. Let's see. We're going to style and we're going to give it a border. It's going to be a solid border. And we're going to go and give it 1 pixel. And then let's give it a color just so you can see what this would look like. So we can also take that same thing and give it a radius of, let's say, 8. Now, see what I'm talking about? Now we have what's called a card that we could do anything we wanted to do with. Just wanted you to see that. And then what we would do is this image size is going to be a bit smaller. There we go. Let me show you the effect we're going for. These are the 3 cards that we're building right now. We're working on just this first one. There's an image and then there's text right beside it. So we just finished this effect, except I put a border on it just so you could see what I did. So we're going to clone that, including the border, and I'll take those off later. We're going to clone that entire card and paste it here and paste it here, and then edit those. It's a lot easier to do this little cloning thing than it is to rebuild it several times. So let's take this one that we cloned and we're going to drag it over to this. See? And we're going to do it again. Clone it again. And we're going to drag. Uh-oh. Nope, I just cloned the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, we're going to clone the row again. Get on the blue. That's the row. We're going to clone it again. And we're going to drag it to the next section. Next column, I'm sorry. All right. So then what we've got to do is do some padding adjustment because we really want it to look just about like that. All right, so the next one real quick, and then we're going to have to end up stopping, is where this one says live training. Live admit training. And then this is going to say, stop on a real domain. Okay, so this is what it's supposed to look like: a subtitle, title, and then a line underneath it. So we are going to have to adjust our text size because that just isn't showing up like we want. Let's go fix it. And then we can make this a little bit bigger. All right. In a real world, we would make each of these perfect, and then I would clone them like that. It's going to take a little bit more work, but we'll get there. So we are at a stopping point. Let me share again one more time our screen slideshow. This is what we're looking for. I'll have this logo by the time I come back next time. We've got our nav. This whole top part is a header, and then this section from the word contact all the way back to Andy taught me how is our nav. And then we added a call to action button. Remember, we had to create a 2-column row here to be able to put this button out here. We created a 2-column row, right, a 2-column section here, and that is, this is called the hero section on the right column, and we did that just for formatting. We're going to leave this blank. The whole section background is going to be an image with this laptop. On the left side, in this first column, we created a pill, and we used a button to do it. Then we created 2 title elements, a subtitle element, 2 buttons, and then a 3-column row for cards. Let's see if I lied to you. Here we go. We have our nav. This is the header section. We have our nav. This is 2 columns. In the second column, we put our button. Then we have a pill. We have our title. We have a subtitle, a 2-column row with 2 buttons, and then a 3-column row with 3 cards in it. We're getting there, y'all. That's where we're stopping today. So let me stop sharing my screen and see if y'all have any questions. All right, let me go back and read some of this stuff. Thank y'all for inputting into the chat. Shelly said, nested rows and columns, fun times. She also said rich text box allows you to have different size text in one box instead of multiple text elements. I have fallen in love with that rich text box element. We didn't have that for a while. Now we do. Linda said, using subtext within, does that automatically create the difference between H2 and H3? Miss Linda, it does not. You have to go, you highlight the text and you call it either H1, H2, H3, all the way through 6. And then you can also call it a paragraph. Okay. And those are actually the HTML elements. So it's a bracket less than, H1, greater than, right? So it would be each of those for all the ones. Okay. Linda said, thank you, Shelly. Gotcha. And then Shelly said, here's the help article on the different styles of text elements. Perfect. Thank you for throwing that in the chat. I might throw that in when I do the editing on this recording. Steve Shannon, what is your question, sir?
Explain the difference between H1, H2, instead of just typing in text and then make it the bold or whatever that. What's the purpose of these title texts?
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna cheat. Just a minute, let me share my screen again. Share. Middle screen. And I'm not trying to be a smarty or anything, but let's talk about it. Explain the difference between Okay, so I'm asking Google, but we just talked about in an earlier meeting today, we talked about W3 schools. So let's go right here. This is the easiest way to see the difference in the tags. So we've got 6 different tags, H1 through H6, and the text in it says this is heading 1 through 6. And when we click on try it yourself, it's going to render an HTML page with those different tags in it. Now you can stylize the tags even more by using CSS, Cascading Style Sheets, which is our primary way of formatting text in BizStackPro. So you can see this is an H1, this is an H2, this is an H3. So you might be asking, well, why don't I just make them all H1 and then just change the size in my builder or whatever? Well, because you can predefine the sizes on the style that you're using, number one. Number two, when a crawler or a search engine like Google or Bing or whoever else goes and looks at your website, by knowing what these elements are, it knows, oh, this is a title. Or if it's an H2, oh, this is a subtitle. So it knows how important the text is that you're looking at based on what these titles are. Because it's important to understand and remember that if we look at a web page, let's say, oh, that's a good one. No, that's not a good one. Oh, we'll go to 10 ways. Nope, we'll go to Jumpstart. All right. Remember that a search engine doesn't see this page as a picture, right? It sees it as text, a button, an image, and because of the text, it knows that this is an H1. It may know that this is an H2 because even though it's as big as this H1 is, it's an H2. I know I built it. That's why. It knows that this is an H3. And because of it knowing that these elements are this size, it knows how to place the importance on the element. Okay? You may say, well, why does it care? Because when it's searching for information that you want to know, it's got to find out if it matches what the importance is of what you want to know. Let me stop sharing now that you've seen that.
Wow.
You can learn a whole bunch more about that just by asking Google or your favorite LLM, teach me about font sizes or elements, the H1 element, that kind of thing, on a web page. And it will be happy to teach you all that info. One of the cool things about the W3 schools is where I just showed you is you can adjust those different ones and look at it when it renders it in HTML live. So you can adjust that stuff on the left side and see it on the right. Did that answer your
Okay.
question?
Yeah, I love the way you cheat, buddy. That was good. That was good. That cleared it up a lot.
There you go. All right. Any other questions? Okay, so that link that Shelly talked about, the different styles of text elements, I bet you that that's going to tell you a lot more of what we just talked about as well. Let's see. Oh, that tells you how to do it. Okay. So if you want to know how to build the different elements, go look at the link that Shelly shared. And it's help.bizstackpro.com. And then you can look at all the different elements inside of the text builder. This is our page builder, right? That you're already used to seeing. And then we have these that we just threw out all over our page. Like I said, I am in love with the rich text element because if I wanted to, I can take formatted text directly from ChatGPT and paste it right in there and it automatically puts it in. You still have to do a little bit of editing, but it automatically puts it in for you. I mean, as in H1, H2, H3, bold, italicized, all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to sit there and try to format it as you go. That's pretty good, especially if you're using something to build your website, or if you're going from a Google Sheet or a Word document into the rich text element, it will follow that same formatting for you. It is incredible, and that wasn't always there. What else? Anyone else? Going once, going twice. This replay will probably be available on YouTube on about Thursday. And once again, if you need to get in touch with me, you can send a message to andy@andydelgado.com or go to Facebook Messenger or m.me/AndyDelgadoTX and it'll send me a message. You can also please like and subscribe and do the follow and all that stuff on my socials, especially when you watch the replay of this video. I think that's everything. So I am going to stop recording and then we'll talk a minute. So if you're on YouTube, thanks for being here. Make sure you do the like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Send me a message if you need me. Leave a comment in the comments. I'd be happy to talk about any of that. I check every comment that I get. And for links to get with BizStackPro, you can see that in there. To link to download any of the worksheets and the toolkit will be in that description as well. If you know somebody that's on this panel that you're seeing and you want to find out more about BizStack Pro, get in touch with them by all means. If not, get in touch with me. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you very much. Bye bye.